Hey, welcome everyone to the vibevlt. We've got Joe Brady here from Scanner. Welcome, Joe. How are you doing today?
Doing great. How about you?
Excellent. I'm doing very well.
Good.
Thanksgiving's coming up. Companies coming over dinner to make, and I hear you've got family stuff going on as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. We have two grown kids and my wife and their significant others. We get together. It's a nice, peaceful home thing.
Well, that's good because a lot of homes aren't like that.
Right. Yeah, I've heard all the horror stories over the years of family get-togethers.
Yeah, ours were always pretty good too when we were younger, but things change when you get older.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, we're here to talk about Scanner today. We're here to talk about Joe Brady, Junie Fortney, and also Ray Hawkins on drums, right?
Yes.
And Junie Fortney on guitar, and he does some really great stuff on guitar too. I really appreciate the stuff that he's doing. And then of course you, leader Joe Brady, your vocals and bass and songwriter.
Correct. Yeah.
You write everything. Like
Pretty much. I come up with the concepts and write the lyrics and generally pull the structure of the song together on my bass. I find it easy to do a song structure on the bass and then send it to the guys, and then they, flesh out their parts or suggest any changes. It sounds like, I'm the control freak of the group, but I'm not really. If somebody tells me, something sucks or we need to change it, that's perfectly fine. No ego problems.
I can see that it may come across that way, and I think maybe in the beginning I might have thought that, but just the way that you present yourself in your promo and stuff, it doesn't seem to be that way. Maybe once you get to know a little bit more about the band, but I could see how somebody could say that for sure. So
Right.
anyway, we have Scanner, roots and punk inspired rock and roll since 1979. You've got 1979 written right into your name. So
Right.
when you look back, let's look back then at the first version of Scanner, and what since then to today, what has changed and what has stayed the same?
Well, things that have changed are, of course, you get a little mature and you have a little more, a lot more life experience under your belt, for 40 some years. But the music and everything has pretty much stayed the same. We like the idea of kind of stripped down, basic rock and roll. We throw the roots in there because we're all influenced by, we came up through the 60s and 70s with being influenced by primarily the likes of David Bowie, Alice Cooper, and going back even further than that, we all have a love for 50s rock and roll, 60s psychedelia and hard rock and uh, proto metal and all of that. So we have a wide range of influences. And then coming up through present day, we played essentially the same stuff. We draw from those experiences, those exposures to various types of music, riffs that we liked over the years. We incorporate a lot of that into our music, and then subject matter. As I mentioned, that I come up with concepts a lot, but with input from the other players. But we have that influence of growing up in the 60s and 70s and being into like monster movies, drag racing, motorcycles, rock and roll. It's all rolled up into the Scanner sound.
Yeah, and that's actually the really cool part is what Scanner is about and everything that kind of surrounds Scanner. You really have your own zone moving forward. It is really your own, and it's taken a lot from the past and things like that. Like your music, you can definitely hear influences from the past in your music even now, but it's still modern. It's I really like that fact about the band. And the other thing also is you've lasted for a long time. Like most bands last maybe 5 years if they're lucky. You've been around for how many is it now? You know, do I have to do the
40,
math?
40 plus. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we managed to get along. And like I said, that we don't have major ego problems. We uh and now since we've grown up, we mainly get together every year to write new material and put out a new release, play a couple of live shows. We're not really, a touring rock and roll band or anything. We mainly like the creative side of creating new sounds, new music and recording it and putting it out there. And with the internet, it's great because we get this incredibly wide audience worldwide.
So you're finding that to your benefit. That's, I
Oh yeah.
noticed your Facebook page has like 5,000 followers, over 5,000. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
yeah. So it's nice because back in the day when you were in a band, you would make cassettes or a little 45 or something when you didn't have a lot of money and hawk it at local record stores, comic book stores, and things like that, and sell it at your shows. Now, boy, you put something out and the world hears it. If they like it, it's great. You know, we've been fortunate to get a pretty good audience worldwide for our stuff. So that's the internet has been really good to us that way. And then shows like yours, various podcasts, various online magazines, and and radio shows have really helped distribute our music where we couldn't have ever done something like that before.
That's super. And it's super that you're using that too, because I see a lot of bands around that don't explore much further than their just local area or the local group that they're in on Facebook anyway. I look at Instagram and it seems like bands and groups there are like all over the place. Like there's no connection whatsoever, barely. Anyway, at least that's what I see. But social media is like a love-hate sort of relationship for me.
Oh
I love
yeah.
it in a way, but it's so much work.
Yep. We're all in the same boat with that. Yeah.
So, you were talking a little bit about leaning into the horror and science fiction side and the pulp themes and stuff a lot, which is definitely a theme once you start listening to your music. Monsters, ghosts, spies, and I'm kind of leaning towards codes now. And
Mhm.
I'm thinking about that song off your new EP, your latest EP. What pulled you into that world originally?
Well, I always say I'm a 60s monster kid. That's what we call ourselves, kids that grew up on Famous Monsters magazine, building those old Aurora monster model kits and those Ed Big Daddy Roth car designs and kits, and grew up on that. And then the movies and TV shows. I was a TV kid as well. I loved all that stuff. I was a Trekkie. I was into Outer Limits and all the monster movies that they put on TV back then. That was my big influence. And we kind of stopped short of being like a Misfits type band. They're very focused on being a horror rock, horror punk band. We kind of like to go outside of that border a lot and just do some basic rock and roll as well. And punk. A lot of it is has the punk sound because that's what we also were highly influenced by. But that monster movie horror stuff was a big influence, and we all grew up with that. Junie, our guitar player, he was really into motorcycles. He's a motorcycle mechanic. He grew up with all the building choppers and repairing those type of motorcycles, and he grew up in that scene of surf music, cycling, going to drag races and all of that stuff. It all sort of goes hand in hand because you see a lot of that in old movies, old horror movies. They really incorporated all of those elements, sort of like if anybody's familiar with the Cramps, they kind of had embody that kind of feel too. So yeah, that's a big influence on us.
That's actually really interesting things, tidbits of information like that Junie was working on helicopters,
So motorcycles.
motorcycles. Oh, yours said choppers?
Choppers, yeah, 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 for long fork
Oh.
choppers and things like that. Yeah, yeah, helicopters. Yeah, I liked helicopters when I was growing up too. I was a big a freak of. It's funny you brought that up. That was another one of those things that everybody was into the flying and riding fast and doing all that stuff. So you're not off the mark with that.
Well, thank you for saving me from that comment.
Sure.
So when it comes down to writing then, how do you guys start out? Well, you said you pretty much do it. So how do you start out? Bass and vocals, theme, I assume. And then you send stuff off. I'm not sure. Could you
Yeah,
explain that?
yeah. Usually just comes up, I come up with an idea and then just sort of flesh out the lyrics. And at the same time, there are a lot of chord progressions that I like that are, classic rock sounds. I mean, most of our music, you'll probably recognize the chord progressions as well as a lot of the guitar work. It's highly influenced by, like I said, even bands like the Ramones and the Plasmatics, and then the more classic rock stuff like, Alice Cooper, Nazareth, and all of that, we were into. So you'll hear a lot of that in the music, and I'll find chord progressions that I like or riffs that I like. And then also, as I'm working an idea through, I, you know, I'll come up with something like something to do with werewolves, or like you were mentioning, spies, old spy movies, the old Charlie Chan movies, or anything like that. I'll get the feel for that, and then come up with some lyrics, and then hone in on that idea and come up with a song like Codes is a good example of that.
Yeah, well, you can tell that your the writing's well in place, your writing form and your chorus verse, your structure is always very well organized, and with hooks and leading to a climax at partway through the song, and yeah, it's pretty cool. And where did you start getting your idea for codes? Well, you mentioned just I guess from spy movies, but it just sort of popped into your head one day while you had your bass with you or something.
Actually, that I can credit to another person that I work with a lot on other side music projects. His name is Memphis Mike Metzger. He's a
Yeah.
rockabilly guitarist from around Pittsburgh, PA, and we worked on a couple of music projects. And he came up with a concept for a spy song. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, I really like that kind of thing. Especially the older, older James Bond movies, and even pre that, the old film noir movie, black and white movies of the 40s and 50s. So I got a feel for that. He came up with a few guitar licks with that and a structure of a song, and I wrote some lyrics for it. And we didn't really do a lot with the song, but then I thought, oh, we're going into the studio with Scanner. I might as well take those lyrics that I already worked out and take the basic concept of the song and turn it into a hard rocking punk type song.
Yeah, I remember reading something about that, giving some credit to someone I couldn't remember the person's name, so that's who that is.
Yep.
And then also about your studio too. I remember reading about that you do take your work into a studio because it's very well produced. I like your sound. It comes across like well, it comes across rough and like kind of off the cuff, but when you like it's not though. Like it's really well produced. You can hear each instrument and what they're doing. That's basically what I'm hearing or what people hear is your sound, almost like maybe a live sound.
Mhm.
Like it's supposed to be raw, even though you can still tell it's not quite, but because of the production. So I think that's a really good combination for your recorded stuff.
Oh, thanks.
That's what I noticed anyway when I listen. Um, so yeah, so talking about black and white, and a lot of your stuff is in black and white, but you chose to do codes in sepia tone. You left a little bit of the brownish tinge from sepia tone in that. Was there a reason for that or?
Actually, look, I tried a various. I generally do the videos myself as well, but not being a control freak. But anyway, I tried various color schemes on that. I tried the old bluish TV. When you see
Mhm.
old black and white movie on the TV, it sort of almost has a bluish glow. It just didn't come off quite right, and that was the color scheme that looked the best to me was that sepia tone look.
Yeah, it looks great. And it stands out a little bit. I don't know if you've used it on many other videos, but it does stand out because a lot of your other videos are in black and white,
Mhm.
which is really cool as well. I mean, I like black and white, and I also like the high pop art type color, kind of one or the other. I kind of don't lean in the middle much, but so you're in Pennsylvania, so we're in the same time zone.
Yeah.
Did you grow up there?
Yes, I was born in York, Pennsylvania. It's near Gettysburg. Um, and Junie and Ray are both over around Gettysburg, PA. I'm currently living in Pittsburgh, so we travel and get together to record once a year. But yeah, and everybody else is from around that same area,
Yeah.
central
Did,
Pennsylvania.
so you were playing a lot around that area,
Hmm.
like a lot of gigs there. Are you still performing often?
Not often, usually tied into whenever we do a release, but you know, we're a bunch of tired guys, but when it comes
Yeah.
to that, played live for many years around the Harrisburg, York, Gettysburg, and then down into Maryland. We played, closer to Baltimore and DC and those areas as well for many years. And now, we just like to do the recording and occasional show here and there.
Yeah, I know what it's like to be playing often. I'm kind of through with that as well. It just gets to, I mean, through the years, it gets to be enough. Um, what do I have next here? For anybody catching Scanner for the first time, like I've zeroed in on codes partly because it's all from your new CD and it's one of your newer songs. But you've got a ton of great stuff out there. You've been around for so long, but there's tons of great stuff. But where would you point somebody new to Scanner? What would you point them to in listening, like to sort of get
Oh,
your
thanks.
what you're
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, I would immediately point them to our YouTube channel, which is on the you go to YouTube and just look for Scanner 1979. And just as a slight aside, 79, we throw that in there for one thing to show that that's the year that we began, but also there are two other scanners out there. There's a Euro techno musician named Scanner, and then there's a German speed metal band called Scanner. So so I shoved the 1979 on there at the end just so people could easily find us and not get us mixed up with the other ones. But yeah, our YouTube channel, you go to Scanner 1979, and we have about 40 videos out there of music from that goes from the music that was written and performed in the 70s all the way up until present day. So yeah, somebody can go through that catalog and get a real taste of what we're all about.
Sure, and it is good too. I'll have all that in the description. And I also put out the interview separate, and I'll have all that information there as well. And I also put it out on the radio too. So we got too much going on. Actually, just before I want to catch something that I just missed. Something I wanted to mention about your song codes or your writing in general. How you always pick on a riff or something that is catchy. For example, in codes, it's how was I to know where the no misses beat one and goes to beat two? And each of the following lines mission was a go. Like your
Yes.
music always has something in it that's catchy. And the first time I listened to it, like, I mean, it was good. I thought that was interesting, but after a couple times, it really catches you. You know, you're sitting there listening to the song, you're waiting, you know that's coming, and you're looking forward to that. So I just wanted to bring that up. That was something that really attracted me to that song.
Oh, thanks.
Um,
Yeah. I've always been attracted to musicians and songwriters that are able to come up with a good hook
yeah,
on top of a really powerful sound. So
yeah.
I try to do that.
So then, what's next for you guys? What are you
Well,
gonna?
we're working on new material. We're probably going into the studio next spring, around May, and coming up with probably another EP. We generally do EPs, four to six songs at a time because a full album, everybody has busy schedules, and so that's what we're doing. And that one's going to be called "Too Late to Change." Mainly a description of us right now. So and it's going to be, typical Scanner, harder rocking with punk influence on the
Good,
sound. Yep.
excellent. So, too late to change. So is that like the first time you've told the public? Is that a
So
scoop?
they've been telling us that all the
Oh,
or when are you going to grow up kind of thing. But
yeah.
yeah, it's too late to change. So
Okay.
we're just going to keep going.
Yeah, and the EP, the six song EP is the way to go because especially with social media when you're promoting something, you can drop a couple singles or something and then drop the whole thing. You can really build to a climax and let it drop and then move on and let it sort of linger. Whereas you're going for an LP, you're like letting it dangle on for months while you're trying to pre-release and do stuff and the attention span's too short for the public now.
Yeah, and we a lot of us just don't have that kind of budget anyway to work on an
Yeah.
entire album, and you do what you can do with what you have. And like we've been saying with social media, it's better to go with either singles or an EP, I think.
Yeah. I'm not sure. We're coming near the end here. I only have 40 minutes on my Skype because
Oh.
I refuse to pay for it at this point.
Okay.
No, I think we've got like 10 minutes left or so. We're fine. But before we go, I'm not sure. Is there anything that I missed or anything that you'd like to add or let the people at the Vibe Vault know about
No,
Scanner?
yeah, actually, the only thing I want to say is, thanks to everyone for their support. People come out and give us nothing but positive comments on our music. We haven't been raked over the coals yet, critic wise, and yeah, I really appreciate that the reception we get. Us guys have been playing this stuff for so long, and we haven't really changed up or evolved into like a prog rock type thing. We keep it basic, and everybody seems to appreciate that, and we appreciate the positive feedback we get.
Yeah, I agree. We've got a really good community. This community, the Vibe Vault, but the broader community as well. Really great community. But you probably go beyond that community. You're probably speaking even a bit beyond that as well. But yeah, indie musicians are doing really well at supporting each other, and yeah, that really makes me happy. And you guys have done a super job, and I do love your music. I am a fan, of course,
Thank
and
you.
I'm so happy that you spent time with me today for this interview to show the rest of the indie world. So thank you so much,
All right. Thank
Joe.
you.
Yeah, okay, take
Bye.
care, Joe. Bye bye.
Was a girl, I loved her